For all the participants, panelists, presenters, and audience, 5 minutes before we start, we need to inform you to make sure to turn on your video and mute or turn off your audio. And then, so let me announce a few agenda on today's event. Today we have two events, and the second, the main event, is Student Colloquium 2021 between two universities, Universitas Warmadewa and Universiti Tunku Abdul Rahman. Also, you can view the session at live YouTube, which link already shared on Instagram. And then don't forget for all the participants, include the panelists and presenter, to fill in the absent on Google Form link, which will be shared on Zoom chat at 11:45 a.m. And of course, I ask permission to record this Zoom meeting during the Colloquium event. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Respectable, the head of architecture program of Arsitektur Warmadewa, Mr. Igede Nyoman Mahaputra, and the honorable panelists from University Tunku Abdul Rahman, Mr. Abdul Muluk Abdul Manan, and the panelists from Universitas Warmadewa, Bapak Ide Bagus Gede Parama Putra, and the honorable all participants and all invited guests in this session. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gede Bagus Andika Wicaksana. I'm lecturer on Universitas Warmadewa. I also will be the host in this student colloquium 2021 event in the next 2 hours. Before we start, I invited the head of architecture program, Bapak Nyoman Putra, to give speech. There will be 2 events. First, we have student colloquium 2021, and the second is virtual exhibition, Wastu X Warmadewa student exhibition. So, Mr. Mahaputra, please, time is yours.
Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Hello Pak Mangdi.
Very clear, yeah? Okay, good morning everyone. Are you nervous? Yes, we are all nervous because we are expecting good result, yeah? Because we are very excited. If you are not nervous, that means that you are not excited. The excitement makes us nervous, yeah? So, but I do hope that during the presentations, all the students will not be nervous again, because we would like you to enjoy the sessions, yeah? Don't be nervous. Okay, today is a very good day because we reached one important milestone of our collaboration between Universiti Tunku Abdul Rahman, Malaysia, and Universitas Warmadewa. We have known each other, I think, since 4 or 5 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, but today we have reached a very important milestones. Because today 4 students from each university will present their hard work doing research on COVID-19 pandemic, discussing it with their peers, and then finally proposing design in response to pandemic. The result of the proposals may be important, but most important is the process that you all have gone through, yeah, and the progression that we have made on our partnerships. That's, I think, is very important. And today's event is not the last. Maybe our next collaborative work will be joint publications. I have Pak Abdul Mulu and I have talked about this upcoming collaborations, and then maybe we will invite more universities to involve in this kind of student colloquium. So we maybe will have 6 or 7 universities to join us, and we plan it in June. And we will also continue and further these collaborations, and I do believe we will achieve more goals in the coming years. And for the students, once again, I would like you to enjoy the sessions. Yeah, you already have your mark. Yeah, so don't be nervous. We will not mark you. You have to give us your best presentations today, so your peers, your colleagues, and your friends could get the message that you deliver to them. And also for all of us, I would like to say, let us enjoy these sessions. And I think that's all what I have to say. Thank you. And I hand over the sessions to Pak Andika. Please, Pak Andika. I think Pak Andika has problem with his internet connection.
Hello, Mr. Mangdi.
Okay. Please.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Because we encounter connection problem.
Okay.
Okay. Now the connection is good. Okay, thank you for Mr. Mahaputra for the opening speech. As the Mr. Mahaputra said, this colloquium is continue from the joint studio activities, which has been finished at 6 months. And the main topic is about to design the best way how to design should adapt during this pandemic. So all of us hope this can be one of design approach in the future, maybe, because the theory or still lack about this the design of pandemic. Okay, I'm not wasting time, so we can continue to the next agenda. Uh, Let me introduce you the presenter from both universities. First, we have from Universitas Warmadewa, Niluh Ayu Sumawati, Igede Wahyu Laksamana, Nyoman Maha Arta, Gede Deva Jayendra, and from Uttar student, Lu Kailin, Kenji Yap Jinye, Timothy Miranda, and Lau Zhen Kang. Okay, let me inform again. There will be 4 sessions. Each session will be 1 student from Universitas Warmadewa and Uttar student. Each student have 5 minutes presentation, and then we can continue to the panelists to give a comment or advice in 10 minutes. So for the each panelist will have about 5 minutes of discussion. At the end of the session, each panelist will give conclusion from the whole session. Okay, let's continue. I'm calling the student for presentation. First, we have Niluh Ayu Sumawati and Lu Kailin. So both of you can start to share the screen. We can start from Universitas Warmadewa, and then we can continue to Lu Kailin. Please, the time is yours.
Izin share screen, Pak. Loh.
Please, Niluh Ayu Sumawati, you can share your screen.
I'm sorry, my connection error. Hello?
Yes, you can do your presentation.
Yes, Uma.
Do you want to see my slide?
Yeah. Yes.
Perkenalkan, my name is Niloy Samawati in Universitas Warmadewa. Pertama saya akan jelaskan problem dari pandemi ini, di mana kota saat ini terhenti pada saat pandemi dan skala aktivitas itu tak berlaku seperti biasanya. Dan pandemi ini berdampak pada aktivitas-aktivitas masyarakat, di mana terbentuknya new aktivitas, yaitu new kebutuhan dasar, yaitu kesehatan menjadi poin utama dari pandemi saat ini. Nah, terbentuknya new life, yaitu yang pertama hunian yang terpadu yang dapat memenuhi pangan, di mana terbentuknya ruang-ruang fleksibel, ruang sterilisasi, dan ruang pembersihan diri, serta cuci pakaian dan ruang isolasi mandiri. Yang kedua itu ada square new activity, di mana urutan dari aktivitas masyarakat itu terbentuknya itu berubah tidak seperti biasanya. Dan yang tiga itu ada fasilitas dasar yang terpadu terpadu dengan hunian dan dapat dijangkau dengan berjalan kaki, yaitu ada fasilitas pendidikan, ekonomi, dan kesehatan. Yang keempat, di mana kebutuhan pangan ini tercukupi pada masa pandemi, minimal 14 hari karantina. Dan yang kelima ada kesadaran menjaga kesehatan yang semakin meningkat untuk menerapkan protokol kesehatan COVID-19. Yang keenam, sirkulasi udara dan pencahayaan. Nah, lokasi site dari tugas ini yaitu kawasan di sekitar sesetan, di mana membentuk permukiman, agrikultur, dan market, serta klinik dan public space dengan jumlah 200 KK, kurang lebih 860 orang, di mana ada 4 tipe dari keluarga, yaitu ada tipe 1 yang terdiri dari 2 orang, tipe 2 yang terdiri 20 KK, terdiri dari 3 orang sejumlah 20 KK, dan tipe 3 terdiri dari 4 orang sejumlah 100 KK. Dan tipe 4 ada 6 orang sejumlah 60 KK. Di mana seperti yang kita ketahui, COVID-19 ini berada pada kerumunan-kerumunan yang ada di sekitar kawasan. Berikut merupakan analisis site dari tugasnya ini. Saya skip aja. Nah, yang pertama ada aksesibilitas dari site-nya, di mana site ini berada di Jalan Raya Sesetan. Terdapat 2 akses, satu akses jalan utama menuju site-nya, dan di belakang site ini ada sungai yang dapat dimanfaatkan. berikut ada build up area dan mesh plot dari site-nya, dari desain yang saya buat. Dan saya akan fokus utama pada hunian, di mana merupakan masa utama dari kawasan ini, dan aksesibilitas dari dalam site-nya. Nah, mass transformation ini merespon iklim dari sekitar site. Dan dalam site ini terdiri dari hunian, vertical farm, area parkir bagian bawah, dan traditional farm, serta market. Nah, untuk merespon COVID-19 dalam hunian ini, tentunya masyarakat itu akan membludak jika dia ada salah satu. Jadi kalau misalnya banyak pasien COVID dalam hunian, dalam public space itu dapat diaktifkan menjadi area isolasi sementara. Nah,
excuse me, Suma.
Gimana, Pak?
3 minutes more.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes, and you can directly explain the design.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Nah, ini merupakan huniannya, terdiri dari empat kakak. Jadi bangunan hunian ini merespon iklim, di mana merespon matahari, untuk di mana COVID ini, ya seperti yang kita ketahui, itu kita dituntut untuk berjemur di pagi hari, dan maka dari itu bangunan dari COVID ini tentunya akan merespon dari arah matahari tersebut. Nah, untuk membuat ruang udara saya membuat open space bagian tengah, sehingga bangunannya itu nanti akan dapat bernafas. Maka saya membuat sedikit lengkungan pada bangunannya hunian ini, agar semua area dalam hunian ini dapat merespon arah matahari. Nah, bagian bawah ini awalnya itu merupakan zona co-working space atau co-study. Maka dari itu, untuk mencegah kerumunan, saya memecah co-working space ini pada setiap lantai yang ada pada hunian, sehingga setiap lantai pada hunian itu memiliki ruang terbukanya masing-masing dan sebagai circulation udara. Nah, berikut merupakan sirkulasi dalam huniannya. Yang pertama, terdapat area mencuci tangan sebelum memasuki rumah. Yang kedua, terdapat area meletakkan gini. Dan yang ketiga, ada area untuk membersihkan diri agar virus-virus itu tidak masuk ke dalam rumah, namun kita sudah membersihkan dulu pada area utamanya. Dan area depannya itu terdapat area cuci baju. Nah, berikut area ruang tidur dan area mandi, di mana nanti areanya ini saya berikan setiap kamar tidur itu ada balkonnya, sehingga nanti saat ada pandemi atau
okay, Suma, time is up. Ya, you can show your final design maybe. Okay. So you can skip to the end of the slide.
This is my design.
Because time is up. Okay, the final rendering, the whole area. The whole building.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Suma, for the presentation.
Thank you.
Let's move to the next presenter, Lu Kailin. Are you ready, Lu Kailin?
Hi.
Okay, time is yours.
Okay.
There's no sound, Kailin. Before you share the screen, you gotta share the audio as well. So you stop share and then you share the audio, yeah?
Share the audio.
Yeah, you stop share and then you share the audio. Before you share the video, you can share the audio. Yeah. So you stop share first. Before you share, there's a bottom corner you can tick that shares audio.
Share audio.
You press your share screen and then you see the share audio. Share sound, yeah, on your left hand side, left hand corner. Yeah.
Okay. The site that had been assigned is located in Jalan Gunung Agung, Denpasar, Bali, where majority of the buildings surrounding the site consists of residentials, commercials, landfills, institutions, and churches. The site can be accessed by a two-way main highway that are accessed by motorcycles, cars, and other large vehicles, and other alleyways that can be only accessed by cars and motorcycles. My concept for this project is Safe Haven. Since the onset of the pandemic, our appreciation of the outdoors and nature seems to have been greatly increased. The act of simply going for a walk or sitting in a park has been a monumental source of reprieve. However, in the midst of a lockdown scenario, these activities don't guarantee safety and aren't universally accessible. Therefore, my design intention for this proposed project is to ensure safety and security, maximize familiarity, stability, and clarity, minimize sensory overload, provide adequate choice and independence, foster health and wellness, enhance one's dignity, allow opportunities for the controlling social interaction and privacy, and lastly, is to ensure accessibility and support in the surrounding neighborhood. My proposed design intention is separated into three zones, which is the public zone, semi-public zone, and private zone. The public zone consists of musala, polyclinic, cafe, corner Wi-Fi, and reading garden, gym, and market. The semi-public zone consists of urban farming court, which is majority accessed by the tenants who live in the apartment, and lastly, the private zone consists of the apartment. My apartment formation is derived from the site where the volume is raised and a center courtyard is introduced to provide privacy from each tenant. Then the form is cut through to allow circulation and to provide social distancing and lessen the social gathering between the tenants. The form is then oriented to allow the tenants to have the maximum view of the city. And lastly, each apartment building is divided into half for circulation purposes. The apartment accommodates 900 occupants where are 20 units in each floor. Each unit is separated from one another to allow cross ventilation, which moderates the internal temperature to improve the comfort of occupants. There are a total of 11 floors where the ground floor is solely for car parks. The whole apartment consists of 10 family type 1 units, 20 family type 2 units, 70 family type 3 units, 60 family type 4 units, and 40 family type 5 units. The apartment consists of 11 stories of 35 meters, where each floor is 3.2 meters and the position of the core is lateral and double. The columns distance and the floor span is 6 times 9.5 meters. The structural system is post and beam. Beam size is 350 x 500 and the column size is 500 x 500, where both beam and columns are made of guram materials. The floor is made of mass timber and the core is concrete. The lateral floor system is concrete podium and concrete cores. This is a site plan. This is the ground floor plan. North elevation and east elevation. South elevation and west elevation. Section A and Section BB. Orthographic Section 1 and Orthographic Section 2. Since the COVID pandemic took hold in early 2020, people worldwide have been spending far more time in their homes than usual. The crisis has blurred the line between living and workspace and laid bare some long-standing issues. With residential design, especially in cities where space is at a premium, our connection to our home, both physical and mental, have never been greater, and this may persist and even intensify after this pandemic subsides. If this happens, home will be need to accommodate a great amount of services and function, designate space for a greater number of specific activities such as reading, napping, physical activities, and entertainment will be desired. Every users, including the public and the occupants of the buildings, are required to take down their temperature and sanitize their hand before they can use and enter the facilities. A hand wash basin is installed in every unit before the entrance vestibule so users and visitors can sanitize their hand before they could enter the unit. In order to keep homes safe and clean, entryways will become clearly defined transitional space where one can remove their shoes, hang their jacket, and sanitize their hand before entering. Flexible spaces further with sliding panel instead of wall and integrate furniture system to make living as fluid as possible. Due to the rise of hand-free mindset, smart kitchen design will also be more prominent. This means more voice-activated technology in the kitchen controlling things such as light, facades, and appliances. Prioritize private outdoor space for every household along with a push for a better positioned, more user-friendly communal garden and terrace. All unnecessary doors and walls and the rooms are placed in a line to cut down on your new space, improve ventilation, and let in as much light as possible. People may begin to pay more attention to the air quality within their homes by limiting the amount of unfiltered outside air that comes in. Therefore, we may see a rise in air purification system, which take in outside air, recondition it, and supply it as a fresh air to a building. This system can work in conjunction with regular HVAC to make homes healthier. With better ventilation system and more considered placement of sockets and other data points in each room, apartment will be more adaptable throughout the day and better positioned to accommodate additional use of the workspace. In conclusion, my design intention aimed to provide this other safe haven or a moment of refuge so people feel they're in a very safe, controlled environment that is accessible from where they live in their unit and also part of the development. Thank you. My name is Luke Harlin from Utah.
Thank you, Luke Harlin.
Okay.
Then we can go straight ahead for the panelists to give comment or discussion. So for the panelists, please.
Maybe Mr. Abdul Muluk can start first. Turn on your audio.
Okay, thank you very much. It's unfortunate that the first presenter just now not able to actually presented her idea in full because I think maybe she spent too long explaining about the process rather than the design itself. So I think that this one thing that probably can apply to everyone. When you design something, you need to time your presentation and you need to be aware of the time given to you so you can customize the item that you want to emphasize in your design. I can see just now that you actually has a good design. It's just that I cannot comment much because towards the end it's just like going sliding pass through your presentation. I can see that actually a lot of thing has been emphasis on hygiene issue, which is good. You have provided the every unit with the not only hand washing facility but actually a shower, cubicles, and also clothes washing clothes facility in front of your house, which is I think I'm not sure whether it will be able to be implemented practically, because let's say after the pandemic is over and some people may think that those spaces will be wasted, because not many people who are disciplined enough to, when they go back home, to shower and wash their clothes and then go enter into their house. It's not practical to have something like that as a daily routine. So actually that's my observation in terms of the layout. In terms of like how you derive the concept and all that, I think it's quite normal when you do any other housing project that you need to increase ventilation, improve in terms of the efficiency of the spaces and all that. In terms of the architecture narratives, also I didn't see much has been spent in terms of explaining the architecture, maybe the architectural language, you know, and in terms of its context to the surrounding area. So I think that's my comment regarding the first presenter. And as for the second presenter, Kailin, I think it's a very good effort in terms of presenting the almost like everything you want to show us in the presentation. You'll be able to present up to the structural system and, you know, or the technical part of it. It's just that I think you went too fast in when you talk. So I think a lot of people couldn't catch what you are trying to say actually, because you know when you present and the tone that you use, it's actually a bit monotonous. So it's like, you know, everything is explained in one tone. So I think maybe that is in terms of presentation that you can improve. You know, maybe you can put some highlights, which are the things that you want to emphasize. Maybe more emphasis on the narratives of how you approach this project in relationship to COVID-19. Overall, I think you have made a good presentation, and I congratulate to both presenter.
Okay, from my point of view, there are three sort of like issue that I have because I think that these three issues are really urgent for designing the pandemic building that respond to this situation. So the first is actually the accessibility. In terms of accessibility, we have to aware of the people that are affected by this virus. Do they have like different kind of access to enter the building, or they have a really rigid sort of like a safety protocol to addressing this issue? And the second, I have watched one video that maybe this is one of a good approach to design the housing. There are like really they have a street in the middle, and then there's a building in the left and the right, and they can actually entertain from one building to the next building. So they can sort of like socialize this regarding to the mental issue, because the mental issue itself is actually increasing, because we don't have space to have a good conversation, and also we don't have much time outdoor and meeting our friends. That maybe you can actually design something on the rooftop that actually make entertainment space for people living in that apartment. And also, do you have I think most of the design that I watch have a courtyard. Maybe they can utilize that as a entertainment area. Maybe some musician can be invited and do the concert and entertain people living in that apartment. That would be very nice. I think that's three issues that regarding the both of the design. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. From the board of panelists, Mr. Abdul Muluk and Mr. Beberapa Putra. So we go straight for the second session. There will be Igede Wahyu Laksamana and Kenji Yerdinye. So the time is 10 minutes. It's so tight for Igede Wahyu Laksamana. please tell the main problem or the main design for this project. Okay. So, Gede Wahyu Laksamana, please share your screen.
Ya, Pak, izin screen. Share screen.
Go straight to your design ya, Wahyu ya.
Ya, ya, Pak. Sudah kelihatan, Pak? Sampurnya.
Sudah.
Yes, we can see. You are mute. Unmute your button. Wahyu.
Wahyu, please
Oh,
unmute.
maaf, Pak. Baik, terima kasih atas waktunya. Di sini saya akan mempresentasikan tugas dari mata kuliah DAS 6 yang dimana tugas ini memiliki keunikan sendiri, yaitu membuat kawasan yang mandiri dan bangunan yang menyesuaikan dengan keadaan saat ini, yaitu COVID-19 itu sendiri. Jadi di sini saya memaparkan beberapa sektor pendukung untuk melengkapi bangunan apa saja yang akan ditampung di dalam tapak dan fasilitas apa saja yang akan direncanakan di luar tapak. Jadi setelah kami diskusikan di dalam kelompok bahwa sektor yang akan kami tampung itu ada agrikultur, pendidikan, ekonomi, agama, kesehatan, dan rekreasi. Lalu di slide ini berdasarkan analisa kelompok yang saya di sini saya memaparkan apa saja fasilitas terdekat yang berada di jarak 500 meter dari tapak. Seperti analisa fasilitas kendaraan, analisa jarak fasilitas sekitar site, ada analisa waktu dan arah mata angin kota, dan lain-lain yang dapat dilihat pada slide. Lalu di slide ini tentunya saya memaparkan analisa berupa gambaran sektor-sektor apa saja dari jaraknya, arah, pencapaian, dan keterkaitan. Bisa dilihat seperti sektor pendidikan yang ada di sekitar tapak, keagamaan, dan lain-lain. Jadi di slide ini saya memaparkan konsep transformasi bentuk bangunan yang menurut saya dapat mengatasi COVID-19. Dapat dilihat untuk transformasinya pada bagian atas slide. Lalu di sini ada prinsip pencahayaan dan penghawaan yang saya buat di setiap hunian yang ada di bangunan. Nanti untuk lebih jelasnya nanti saya akan jelaskan lagi di slide berikutnya. Lalu slide ini saya memaparkan maaf. Oke, saya lanjut. Jadi di slide ini saya memaparkan konsep penataan lingkungan sekitar site yang mencakup penataan sungai, penataan warung, serta penataan trotoar dan sekitarnya. Jadi pada sungai itu saya merancang trek jogging, perletakan bangku taman, dan penataan kedai. Lalu saya merancang sebuah penempatan tanaman perindang di area sekitar sungai. Untuk penataan warung sendiri, di sini saya buat lebih luas karena untuk perletakan bangku untuk individu makan santapannya itu juga harus memiliki jarak. Jadi di slide ini saya memiliki ide dan menurut saya berguna dan berfungsi untuk penjagaan terjadinya penularan COVID-19 demi mencapai tujuan. Jadi di sini saya memiliki asumsi yang berbeda oleh teman-teman lainnya. Saya di sini memiliki keinginan untuk melanjutkannya. Jadi di sini saya membuat jalan layang yang menghubungkan antara tapak dan sektor yang telah ditentukan di luar site. Tentunya adapun fasilitas pendukung agar bisa memakai jalan layang ini menggunakan jembatan penyeberangan yang ada di beberapa titik yang sudah saya tentukan, jadi bisa dilihat pada slide. Jadi ini untuk konsep desain jembatan penyeberangan pada area pada kawasan yang meliputi yang penyeberangan COVID-19. Jadi bisa dilihat pada slide. Di sini saya memaparkan untuk struktur jembatan layang yang saya rencanakan.
Ini untuk di sini ini untuk zoningnya yang telah direncanakan. Jadi di sini saya zoning di sini mencakup di luar site dan di dalam site. Zoning site ini direncanakan dan ditentukan sebelumnya di tugas kelompok dan telah dimodifikasi kembali pada tugas individu untuk zoning kawasan yang saya rancang itu meliputi integrasi antar sektor seperti sekolah, pasar, tempat ibadah, dan lain-lain. Lalu di slide ini saya paparkan pemakaian struktur yang digunakan, yaitu memakai struktur kayu dan beton. Lalu ini untuk desain skematik plumbing dan instalasi listrik. Lalu untuk di slide ini saya memaparkan skenario lockdown COVID-19. Jadi saya di sini saya bagi di sini menjadi 3, yaitu bagi orang yang tidak mempunyai gejala isolasi di rumah atau di hunian, terus ada tanpa gejala isolasi di pusat kesehatan, dan ada gejala isolasi di rumah sakit atau di luar kawasan yang telah dirancang. Lalu di sini sama seperti sebelumnya, namun ini integrasi antar impor pangan dari pasar dan pencapaian dari kawasan menuju pasar dengan COVID-19. Terus di slide ini saya paparkan mengenai skenario mengenai pencapaian sektor pendidikan dan pencapaian sektor agama yang ada di luar slide. Lalu di slide ini saya paparkan skenario mengenai skenario di dalam fasilitas yang saya buat. Jadi di sini menampung berbagai fasilitas seperti fasilitas kesehatan, fasilitas ekonomi, sosial budaya, dan lain-lain. Jadi di sini saya membuat alur atau pergerakan individu di dalamnya seperti pengelola dan pasien yang ada di dalamnya seperti apa. Lalu untuk skemanya bisa dilihat sendiri di slide. Lalu ini untuk skenario dalam sektor pendidikan. Jadi di sektor pendidikan ini saya membuat beberapa kelas, terutama bagi beberapa kelas seperti taman kanak-kanak, SD, dan SMP yang telah ditentukan sebelumnya di kelompok.
Excuse me, Wahyu, we have 3 more minutes.
Lalu ini untuk skenario desain fasilitas sosial budaya. Lalu ini untuk sektor agama yang meliputi gereja, gereja, lalu ada di sini ada kelenteng, lalu ada musola yang saya buat di dalam kawasan, lalu ada tempat ibadah seperti wihara. Lalu ini untuk image karakter penerapan COVID-19 di dalam desain. Jadi saya membuat beberapa apa saja yang akan ditampung untuk mencegah terjadinya COVID-19 di dalam kawasan yang telah saya buat. Jadi salah satunya di sini saya membuat open space pada bangunan. Jadi lalu ada pembuatan penyeberangan jalan yang ada di luar site itu saya bedakan menjadi 2 untuk keluar dan masuk agar orang yang menaiki fasilitas tersebut tidak berpapasan secara langsung. Lalu di sini saya juga membuat jarak antar hunian. Jadi saya tidak hanya individu saja yang harus berjaga jarak. Jadi di sini saya membuat bangunan tersebut juga harus menjaga jarak agar meminimalisir pencegahan COVID tersebut, penyebaran COVID maksud saya. Lalu ini image karakter yang lain untuk ruang isolasi huniannya, lalu ada jalur sirkulasi jalan layang juga, dan entrance masuk keluar fasilitas penghuni dan pengelola yang dapat dibedakan. Lalu ini juga sama, ini untuk entrance masuk keluar site penghuni, lalu adanya wastafel di setiap fasilitas yang saya buat, lalu penataan warung dengan pemakaian jarak, seperti yang saya jelaskan sebelumnya. Lalu ini ada penataan sungai berdasarkan analisis COVID-19. Jadi bisa dilihat di slide, di sini juga ada penerapan bukaan lebar di setiap fasilitas yang saya tampung. Lalu ini untuk penerapan COVID-19 di dalam hunian itu seperti apa gitu, bisa dilihat di slide. Lalu ini untuk detail denahnya. dalam satu bangunan itu seperti apa, bentuk hunian dan di dalam ruangannya itu seperti apa. Jadi di sini di dalam hunian ini saya menampung berbagai fasilitas seperti kamar, dapur, ruang tamu, lalu kamar mandi, dan tentunya ruang isolasi bagi seseorang yang telah mengidap penyakit nanti akan diisolasi di.
Okay, Wahyu, time is up. You can show the final render, maybe final image of your design.
Ini untuk denah-denahnya. Untuk tampak, lalu perspektif mata burung, lalu untuk potongan ortogonalnya, lalu ini untuk gambaran bangunan nanti misalnya setelah jadi atau renderannya, ini untuk interior. Oke, terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Wahyu, for the presentation. Now we move to Kenyi Yap Jinye.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Okay.
Yes, I share my video.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kenjiap Jenny. I will be presenting my project, which is a self-sufficient neighborhood, and it's also a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. My title is Cozy, which aims to achieve a COVID-0 community. So for the concept, I intend to create a cozy neighborhood with a safe environment in the current pandemic. A well control of the movement of the people are able to lessen the contact between the people and to reduce the risk of infection. More open area and greenery can be helpful in reducing the risk of COVID-19 infection too. So now I'm going to show the video about the site. This is the site plan of the project. The clinics are near to the apartment for easier access to avoid more walking distance for the people. This is the outcome of the apartment with greenery design to control the movement of the people to enter and exit the building. The apartments are divided into two parts for better social distancing and better ventilation. The sun exposure can have a better penetration into the building. The bottom floors are designed for commercial activities. It can be act as a mall or market for easier access to people who wanted to buy groceries. It is also act as a farm to plant indoor vegetables. Some parts at the ground floor level will be act as the indoor parking for the residents, and there is also more parking at the outdoor. For the building structure, it will be concrete structure with timber cladding. This is the floor of the apartment with residential unit. The entrance is designed with social distancing, and wide balcony design allows people to stay outdoor to have a better ventilation. It is helped to reduce the risk of infection of COVID-19. And here is the interior perspective of the apartment. The office is designed with one side of parking to avoid the contact with people to reduce the risk of infection. There is also a separated entrance, especially for visitors and workers, to avoid the contact between each other. For the clinic, it is separated into normal zone, which is for the normal patient, and isolation zone, which is for the possible infected COVID-19 patient. Additional road is designed for the ambulance to avoid the spread of COVID-19 from the infected COVID-19 patient to exit and enter the building. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation, Kenji. Okay, we move to the panelists again. So please, maybe first is Mr. Paramaputra, and then we have to go to Mr. Abdul Muluk.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a overview from me. The good things about School of Architecture, we try to testing the knowledge that built from research from other area, which is health and social psychology and everything. So we have to test other possibility to push the boundaries. That's the main goal of architecture. We try to push the boundaries between practical and knowledge. So how are you? So you explained a lot about activities and how you mix everything in one big building. So maybe you have to consider the activities that related to people living in that area, because some people might be able to harvest and plant the vegetation for their food, but some of them maybe don't have much time to do that because any other activities. Maybe you have to come up with the idea where the people actually expert in agriculture do the job, and other that living in this apartment can do other job, like because most of us already use virtual meeting for meeting people. So maybe that can be added to your design. For you also explain the scenario, everything like religion, economy, and you design accessibility, and also you respond to the river bank and everything, which is really impressive. And for Kenji, maybe Kenji?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for Kenji, it's like you have to emphasize something that really respond to COVID-19. Maybe the building mass shouldn't be the same as the apartment in common. There may be a really strong identity or really strong elements that you added to your building facade or everything that can increase or enhance your architectural design. That's for facade, but you explained a lot about how to manage the COVID-19 issue. You made a wide open space and also the courtyard, and maybe you have to think about how the wind interact with the building. Maybe because one of the issue for spreading the COVID is wind. Most of the research explain wind is really have a strong influence on the spreading the virus indoor. Maybe that's all. Thank you.
Okay. First, I would like to comment on Wahyu presentation. I think Wahyu, you have done very well in this project. A little bit too ambitious, I think, because you are covering so many aspects of design in one project. Until I think, even though the outcome is very good, when it comes to presentation, because there's so many things that you want to talk about, at the end of the day, we wouldn't get to the key points of this exercise, which is a self-sufficient residential unit post-COVID, So you have a lot of component in your proposal. That's why I say that it's a bit too ambitious. But I know that you can handle it, which is, I'm quite impressed with that. That you can handle all those in designing the master plan for the whole area and putting all those proposal for each aspect of living in that community. So I think I want to congratulate you in terms of your ability to handle the whole things, and at the end of the day, presenting your outcome. I think so far I've seen that this is actually one of the best proposal that came out from this exercise, and your presentation also in terms of the graphic presentation also is very good. You have come up with a very detailed diagrams. I wish that we can spend more time towards the last part of your proposal, which is your images, your architecture narratives. Because during your presentation, I want to actually push you to, can we go to the to the design when you talk about how you derive the form and how you come up with such an architecture for your proposal. So I think that is what all of us want. At the end of the day, at the end of your presentation, I feel like a little bit frustrated because I couldn't get to hear you explain about your forms and how you put it in context with the surrounding area. Very beautiful renderings. I can say that the very appropriate typologies also for the site. So I think that I want to give you the credit of your ability to come up with such a good and well presented presentation. So, and as for Kenji, I think you are the youngest in this colloquium. It's only a second year, so I think you've learned a lot from your peers, which is like the student in your group, and also from the other presenter in this colloquium. You have tried to match your up to their levels, but as we can see in your presentation, there are still a lot of room for improvement, especially in terms of your design narratives, design process, your ability to explain about the context and things like that. But I still want to congratulate you because you know you are able to at least push yourself as a second-year student into doing a housing project like this. So that's my comment for the two presenter. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for such good and pleasure advice from the both panelists. So we move next to the third session. We have Nyoman Mahaarta and Timothy Miranda, but in this third session, first we call Timothy Miranda for the first screen.
All right. Before I begin, a very good morning to Mr. Mulu and all the lecturers from University Warmadewa. Thank you guys so much for giving us this opportunity to learn and co-learn with you guys during the last semester. Very good. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to learn about how to resolve the COVID pandemic, and we can further discuss this later on. So without further ado, may I share my screen?
Yes, of course.
All right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. A very good afternoon to our lecturers from Utah, from University Warmadewa, my fellow friends and classmates. Today I will be presenting on the self-sufficient neighborhood post-COVID-19. This is a response toward the current pandemic. So before we begin, here's a video of the whole site. Please enjoy. For the general concept of this project, I've decided to approach it in a way that the spaces create a flexible yet safe environment for the residents. That is why I have decided to use a 3-step rule I have learned from my last semester and modify it to suit the project, which is to define, implement, and transform. For the site, I've split it into 2, creating a public and private space, splitting the population into 50%, decreasing the chances in case of the spread of the virus. Here is an example of the way that the space transformation takes place in terms of the COVID-19 response. More entrances are created to prevent crowd gathering at only one entrance. Buffer areas are integrated into the building to create a more organized entry, and curved entrances to act as a semi-enclosure. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the outcome of the neighborhood. This is the site plan of the neighborhood. As you can see, the public space and private space are specifically separated, and more entrances are created for better people path flow. And as for the apartment, it is angled at one corner to have a more welcoming effect. The building is then split into 2 blocks to decrease spread by 50%. This also allows for better wind flow and solar exposure through the apartments. The blocks are then pushed back and front vice versa for an even better solar exposure, which will have tenants in their mini garden. The bottom quarters are made hollow from the market space and farming activities. The core structure is then added to support and sustain the building from below. the open market concept and mini farming is implemented to the second floor of the building to provide the essentials needs to the residents without them having to leave the building at all. Instead of them going out, the food comes to them. The main lobby is an open concept as well. This is where the columns of the buildings can be seen and exposed as well. The different leveling in the center of the building plays a different part and plays a special part in socially distancing the residents and customers. As for the building structure, the foundation together with the 8 main columns will be concrete with steel reinforcement, and for the rest of the following structure will be made of wood. Here we have the apartment layout. As you can see on one floor, the 8 units are divided into 2 sides, thus decreasing the risk of spread by 50% as well. And in one unit, the space can be divided into another 50%, as well as in case the apartment is needed to quarantine someone who was infected. Now we have the outdoor market, clinic, and farming area. These are kept in the same area for those around the site, outside the site, or residents to use as well. The clinic is for people to check up whenever they enter the site to check the temperature, whether they have COVID or not. The farming and the market are correlated so they can supply food to them in an easier manner. These are all kept at one site for better flow and of course for easier access for the customers and residents. As for the clinic, it is right at the entrance for the other areas to make it easier for customers to test for the virus. There is a semicircular roof to spread out the customers in the buffer area to allow more social distancing. The roof has a better solar exposure as well. There is also sun panels on the roof to make it more of an eco-friendly environment. And of course, the buffer area outside of the clinic helps keep social distancing at a very good manner. And as for the market, it is the semicircular space that separates 3 spaces: customers, vendors, and supply area. This will decrease the interaction between buyers and suppliers more, as well as spreading out the people using the semicircular movement. As you can see, there are 3 spaces on the right hand corner that is divided: the red, the blue, and the green. The red is for the customers, the blue is for the vendors, and the green is for the suppliers. These 3 people do not come in contact more physically than previously. And as for the farm, it is a very open space with a semi-solar permeable roof for better solar penetration for the crops, and solar panels right on the roof for better and eco-friendlier environment. Now this is the transformation for the gym and cafe area. There is a buffer area in between these 2 buildings, as well as a bridge to connect the 2 spaces. The buffer area is of course for better social distancing instead of gathering at one entrance for both the spaces. The cafe area allows people to enter from any corner of the site and also dine inside and above as well. With the separating of people using 2 floors, indoors and outdoors, there is a 25% decrease in risk in case of a spread. That way, people are able to spread out more and enter the site or enter the building with different entrances as well. And as for the gym, it is 2 floors as well, decreasing the risk by 50%. And there are multiple entrances to the space, including the bridge and 2 entrances from the bottom. So, in conclusion, designing and planning a residential space in this pandemic is very crucial in terms of social distancing the residents and allowing them to have freedom of space at the same time. With proper planning of space and how it interconnects with each other by defining the space, implementing the COVID response, we will be able to transform the space from a problem into a solution that helps everyone and of course stop the spread of the virus itself. And of course we hope that we will give, as architects, we hope that we can give as much help as we can towards the current pandemic. With all that, I'd like to thank University Warmadewa, to all my lecturers for watching this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That will be all for me. Thank you.
We can move to the next presenter from Universitas Warmadewa, Nyoman Mahaarta.
May I get permission to share screen?
Yes, of course.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Martha. You can start to present it now.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity given to me to present my works about designing self-sufficient neighborhood post-COVID-19. So the first one, as we know, with the increasing case of COVID-19, especially in Indonesia, especially in Bali, we need a new adaptation in terms of life structure, form, and of the environment itself, which is we needed a self-sufficient environment that we can live without fear of the COVID-19 virus. So with the consideration of architectural design and based on scenario analysis and the simulation that I have doing with my group or myself, my individual work, there is some points that I want to show you that the COVID-19 infection target have three factors. The first one is the health factor, which is COVID-19 easily infect someone with having a health factor. The second one is the stress factor. COVID-19 easily infects someone with a stress factor because if we are stressed, our body immunity becomes dropped, and COVID-19 can easily infect us. And then the third one is the age factor. So from all these 3 points, I'm going to the next slide. So this is the urban site integration. My site is located at Danginpuri Kangin village, which is in the center of Denpasar near Puputan Park, which is the site spread around Danginpuri Kangin area, forming a self-sufficient neighborhood in 14 meters radius. So this is the main housing. Okay, so this is the main housing, and then around the main housing site, there is a Kerenang market, which is one of the famous market in Denpasar, and then cemetery, a lot of schools, religion facilities, stores and shops, and also there is residence house. And then how is the street condition around my area? The condition in the streets, like you can see in the image, is there are a lot of street vendors because the area is located near Kerenang market, so there are absolutely a lot of street vendors that is causing COVID-19 clusters. And then there are a lot of careless parking and street parkings here, and a lot of street traffic, and there's a lot of traffic jam happening around here. Next. Okay, so the analysis we have done in our groups work, we have done weather analysis, the wind direction, wind channels, the sun condition, the transportation analysis, which is there is a lot of transportation like bus station and central parkings around the site. And then, as you know, the trend right now is online driver like Grab or Gojek station that we need to consider about it. And then we analyze the greenery of the city itself. And then for the next, this is the general concept that I think to create this self-sufficient neighborhood. The first one is maintaining distance for person analysis. If there are no distance, COVID-19 virus can easily spread and easily infect us. So the solution is for us to make some distance with one another. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, we can hear you. We wish you to present it faster.
Okay. And then it's all the same, like maintaining distance for building, as you can see in the picture. And then it's all the same with maintaining distance in room and for the thermal condition. So the building started with massing, a couple of blocks, and I divided into more distanced, and I stretched some buildings to have more space for agriculture, of course. And this is the final massing. So the next one is the circulation system on the building. I choose to use a linear circulation system because it can avoid a contact when we use cross circulation, and it will become more efficiently to go to one another, to one building to another building with one way to fight COVID circulation, to fight COVID-19. Of course, in the entrance, there will be a screening area. And then the next, there is a creative adaptation reuse concept that I thinking about is when the clinic overloaded with a mild symptom patient, the park area can be reused for lockdown area with max occupancy of 120 plus COVID patient. That is supported by emergency tent, health worker post, and toilets. And the daily needs will be distributed by the health workers. Okay, I'll explain it later. So what I do with the environment itself, and then the environment around the main site is I choose to repair the traffic circulation around the site by creating a street parking lot that can cause a good traffic in the area around the site. And then about the street vendors, we can make some distance in the furniture and then in the circulation of the parking for street vendors. And we can rebuild our river banks with some leisure and fishing spot. And then this is the first one is stop COVID from our education, which is the area known as most of area that a lot of education facilities around there, a lot of schools. So we need to think about the COVID-19 protocols. And then stop COVID from our markets by creating new activity sequence by ordering, preparing, and take away. And then stop COVID with from agriculture that can provide us for food. And then this transportation sector simulation by creating a crossover bridge to reduce the traffic jam and the traffic crowd. So this is the section.
Excuse me, Martha, we have 2 minutes left.
Okay, so this is the section plan for the structure. The structure use concrete foundation connected with bore piles. And then for the main building structure, use a structural composite lumber. We can call it SEL with types of joints that is connected like here. And then also we have solar panels to use generate electrical energy, and still a core for the lifts and the emergency stair. The plumbing system I use divided in gray water, black, clean, and rain and green water. the main purpose is to create green water, which is green water is processed rain and gray water for use to water the plants in the agriculture. Also, the plants in the agriculture sector is automatically fertilized by using some technological system, by using control pump and timer. So for example, every 3 hours the plants will be watered itself. And this is the simulation of a room lockdown in COVID. So before COVID,
time is up, Maharta.
Okay.
We shall move to the final design.
So this is my final design. This is the master plan, and this is the final renders. Okay, thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Maharta.
Okay.
We go straight ahead again to the panelists. So please, first we have Mr. Abdul to give a comment and discussion about the board presenter.
Okay, for Maharta, same like your previous colleague just now, you know, the timing when you presenting your work is seems that you know you're not controlling it. It looks like very interesting, but unfortunately you are not be able to explain about your design. You're talking more about your study rather than your design. So I think this is a very unfortunate that you when you have something like a very good design, and because your not ability to time yourself well, you're not able to present. So I think the next presenter, I hope that you will learn from me from this and start to really time your presentation. Otherwise, it's a wasted effort, because you have, I'm sure you have put a lot of effort in terms of coming up with your presentation, and at the end of the day, you spend like 2 minutes presenting about your group work rather than your individual work. So I think that for other students also, when you present your work, you need to really timing. If it's like at 5 minutes, it's really have to be 5 minutes. It cannot be more than that. So I think the rest of the comments is almost similar about the rest. You are a little bit ambitious also in terms of your project. So I wish that more time will be spent on the self-sufficient community, which is the target of this project, rather than, you know, the whole township that you are trying to focus here. However, I'm quite impressed that you are able to do that. But at the end of the day, when it comes to presentation, because there are so many things you want to say about your project, the most important part you have left out, you know. So I think Timothy, maybe you can learn from Atta in terms of the graphic presentation. I think his graphic is very well compared to yours, Timothy. Yours, you present it well in terms of timing, in terms of the elements that you want to present. However, the content, I mean, the design content itself is still have a lot of room for improvement. You know, your graphic is actually not very good, and you know, even though the concept that you want to showcase to us, you're able to explain it very well. So I think it's attributed to the way you're presenting it. You know, like it not to rush. I mean, you have highlighted on certain aspect of your presentation and things. So we can actually hear one by one what are the things that you want to present. However, the things that you presented is not very impressive. So it's you know, so it's like a contrast between the two. You know, you have an impressive work, but you're not very good in presenting, and you have a very good presentation, not very good design. So actually, that's my conclusion of these two presenters. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul.
Okay, I will start with Timothy. I think for all residential that have a mid-rise building need to have like a safety area, which is when the bus fire happen, there will be a safe place for people that living on the high level. So they have like a safety space or area in the middle of the high rise or mid-rise. That's the first comment. The second, you consider about the clinic that that sit on near the lobby, right? So maybe you can consider how you can design something that like more efficient. Like today we have like the drive-through testing, so maybe you can actually implement that to your design. So before entering the parking area, you have to test yourself first, and you have to put everything under control. And for, I think you already separated the vegetation, the self-sufficient. You have I think on the third floor there are like a lot of space for planting the vegetation, and for the food distribution also. Maybe you have to consider how the food is transferred to another rooms. So maybe you have like sort of like a small lift that deliver all the goods to people living upstairs. I think that's all for Timothy. I think Abdul already covered the graphic issue. For Maharta, I think you have a good point to make the courtyard adaptable for patient. However, the standard for hospitality is quite different. There's no way you can use tent as a infected patient. Maybe it has to be more secure, and also match the hospital standard, which is a really strict. There is no bacterials coming. There is no ventilation to the outdoor space. That's really strict rule. Maybe you can ask the architect, the expert in hospital design. Maybe you can have a sort of like container that actually adaptable for this pandemic issue. And for the water, you already explained how the water works and distributed to all plantation plants. And also, I think again, Abdul Muluk already stated that you already cover too much area. I think for the this kind of project, the narrower your design or your point, the better. So we wasted, right? Maybe you have to point out the important element. And sorry, I think my internet is unstable. So okay, if you cut through the apple, it's better than you cut half. So it's better to have a knowledge that's really deep and understandable, and also supported by a lot of research. That's better rather than you have like a glimpse of idea or knowledge that's come from internet. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Abdul Muluk and Mr. Paramaputra. So we have to go to the last session. Again, we call for UTAR student for the first presentation. So please, Lau Zenkan, and then after Lau Zenkan presentation, we have Gede Deva Jayantra. Time is yours.
Okay, hi sir, good morning. So I'll share my video. Can you see?
Yes, already.
No sound.
No sound. Okay, wait. before we start, let me talk about the COVID-19 issue. As we know, COVID-19 issue has been spread around the world, including Indonesia. From the graph, we can note that the cases of the COVID-19 in Indonesia has increased monthly. The total case in January 2021 has been reached 14,000 cases. The issue facing during COVID-19 mostly is people cannot gather at the public and need social distancing among the people. And here is the analysis of the site in Desa Sanakau, Indonesia. Some issue facing before and after COVID-19, introduction and the site analysis, and some facility suggestion during the group. And here is some detail of the analysis, like how many families, the jobs, the religion, and how COVID-19 affect the activities in each group of people in different facilities. Here is the design concept of the apartment. The main concept is to promote the larger open space for each families for their own activity, but have a good social distancing between the neighbor to have the healthy lifestyle. The second is promote the greenery space in each floor, the site plan for design. This showing the pathway of the class, bicycle, and walkway, and also showing the private space, public space, and greenery space. Besides, the number also show the type of the building, which show in the legend. It show the elevation and the perspective view of the apartment. All elevation is in the scale 1 to 500. I separate the apartment in 3 parts, which name Block A is the main block in the apartment. Block A resident mostly suitable for 6 people families. The structure of the block A is timber in the slide, and also the structural detail, which using the metal plate to fix it, and also showing the design development, the elevation, and the section of block A in scale 1 to 500. Here is the explanation of block A using floor plan in scale 1 to 500, and the axonometry of block A. Block B is the block beside the block A. Block B resident mostly suitable for 2 people family. The structural material and the method same to block A, and also the design development, the elevation, and the section in block B in scale 1 to 500. Here is the explanation of block B using floor plan in scale 1 to 500. Block C is the block beside the block B. Block C residents mostly suitable for 3 to 4 people families. The structural material and method same to block A, and also the design development, the elevation, and the section of block C in scale 1 to 500. Here is the explanation of block C using floor plan in scale 1 to 500 and the axonometry of block C. Here is the different type of room in block A, B, and C. Here show the 3D view, elevation, and the floor plan for each resident type. Adults have 3 different residents. They have a common point, which is beside the entrance have an isolation toilet there for the people to wash and bath to isolate the COVID-19 from outside come into the residence. All the space is made bigger to have a good distance between the family members in order to ensure that not spread the virus to the others. And last, due to COVID-19 issue, we have to make the improvement quickly on the sustainability and stuff for the architecture in order to greenery recover, provide a good air quality to the environment. By using timber for my design is to make it sustainable and localize it to the valley, and also provide greenery place to provide safety environment to the people. This change not only for the COVID-19, but also for the future to make the new revolution in architecture. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zen Kanglau. Then we move to Gede Deva Jayendra. So, as noted before, Gede Deva Jayendra, please use your time to be optimal. Use your time much at the main building or panel rendering image. Okay, please, Dede Deva Jendra.
Baik, Pak. Izin untuk share screen, Pak. Baiklah, hari ini saya akan mempresentasikan tentang desain saya mengenai self-sufficient neighborhood post-COVID-19. Yang pertama, saya akan menjelaskan general konsepnya. Seperti yang kita ketahui hari ini dunia sedang dilanda oleh pandemi COVID-19 yang menyebabkan kematian di seluruh belahan bumi. Maka dari itu, ada solusi yang diberikan oleh pemerintah, yaitu dengan menerapkan protokol kesehatan dan juga melakukan lockdown di berbagai wilayah. Maka dari itu didapatkan hasil, yaitu masyarakat harus melakukan kebiasaan baru seperti menjaga jarak, menggunakan masker, dan selalu mencuci tangan. Untuk skema pemenuhan kesehatannya, jika seseorang mengalami gejala COVID-19 di rumahnya, maka orang tersebut harus melakukan isolasi mandiri di rumah. Namun jika dalam sebuah lingkungan terdapat beberapa rumah yang mengalami gejala COVID-19, maka wilayah tersebut harus dilakukan lockdown. Begitu juga sebaliknya. Untuk skema protokol kesehatannya, yaitu harus wajib menggunakan masker, sering mencuci tangan, hindari kontak tubuh, hindari kerumunan, selalu menggunakan hand sanitizer, dan suhu tubuh harus di bawah 38 derajat Celcius. Untuk general konsep, analisa site. Site ini berada di daerah desa Sesetan. Seperti dilihat pada slide, cenderung lebih banyak wilayah permukiman, dikarenakan wilayah tersebut bisa dibilang padat penduduk. Berikut analisa konsepnya. Di sini analisa tentang orientasi matahari, sirkulasi sekitar site, zona perekonomian, zona hijau atau ruang terbuka, dan zona titik padat penduduk. Di sini adalah zoning site-nya. Ada beberapa jenis zoning seperti zoning pendidikan kesehatan, zoning hunian dan sosial, perekonomian, pertanian, dan juga peternakan. Berikut merupakan transformasi konsep yang saya terapkan. Di sini saya mau mengambil bentuk dasar, yaitu berupa kotak. Ya, sudah saya modifikasi berdasarkan analisa matahari dan juga analisa angin. Untuk integrasi bangunan, yaitu sirkulasi menuju bangunan. Di sini untuk menuju sirkulasi bangunan terdapat jalan utama yang dapat dilalui kendaraan dan juga pejalan kaki. Di sepanjang jalan tersebut akan ditutupi oleh tanaman perindang berupa pohon tanjung. Untuk integrasi bangunan hunian terhadap fasilitas kesehatan, di sini bangunan hunian saya tempatkan dekat dengan area kesehatan. Dikarenakan jika terjadi sesuatu yang urgent tentang pandemi COVID ini dapat ditangani dengan cepat dan dapat langsung menuju area kesehatan. Untuk pemanfaatan ruang terbuka, nantinya di bangunan hunian ini di bagian rooftop akan dijadikan sebagai area komunal, area ruang terbuka. Namun selain area komunal tersebut juga bisa dimanfaatkan sebagai area berkebun. Untuk pemanfaatan ruang terbuka di wilayah apartemen, di setiap apartemen akan disediakan ruang terbuka yang nantinya para pengguna apartemen tersebut akan bisa memanfaatkannya sebagai area berkebun hidroponik maupun berolahraga untuk tetap menjaga kesehatannya selama pandemi. Di sini struktur konsep. Struktur konsep ini nantinya bangunan ini akan menggunakan seluruh kolomnya menggunakan kayu. Namun untuk menjaga bangunan tetap stabil, core tersebut menggunakan coran beton bertulang. Untuk image karakter, di sini saya mendapatkan hasil yaitu berupa standar apartemen yang harus ada agar terhindar dari COVID-19, yaitu setiap apartemen harus memiliki area transisi, di mana area transisi ini juga bisa dibilang sebagai area sterilisasi, yang nantinya bisa digunakan sebagai area ruang tamu. Toilet juga diletakkan dekat area dengan area transisi, dikarenakan pengguna harus mandi maupun mengganti baju setelah datang dari luar tempat. Untuk area tempat tidur sendiri, di sini saya mendapatkan bahwa area tempat tidur harus memiliki sirkulasi angin dan udara angin dan mataharinya secara alami. Selain itu di apartemen juga,
Pak Jendra,
ya.
You have 5 minutes left.
Baik, Pak. Di sini merupakan sirkulasi di area apartemen. Sirkulasi diberikan lebar agar memudahkan social distancing. Vertical circulation menggunakan dua jenis, yaitu berupa sirkulasi tangga dan sirkulasi lift. Untuk building fasadnya, saya menggunakan second skin berupa kayu-kayu, yaitu ini akan memberikan akan membuat angin itu terpecah saat menabrak bangunan. Maka dari itu, bangunan tersebut akan menjadi lebih stabil karena angin tersebut terbagi di sekitar second skin tersebut. Berikut merupakan master plan-nya. Berikut merupakan tampak dari bangunannya. Berikut merupakan potongan ortogonal, seperti terlihat pada slide. Bangunan area apartemen ini akan menampung 200 KK yang terdiri dari 4 jenis KK. Setiap KK sudah terbagi menjadi 4, yaitu KK1 30 unit, KK2 60 unit, KK3 80 unit, dan KK4 30 unit. Untuk KK1 sendiri yaitu terdiri dari 2 orang, yaitu sebuah pasangan. KK2 terdiri dari orang tua dan 1 anak, KK3 terdiri dari orang tua dan juga 2 anaknya, KK3 terdiri dari orang-orang lansia, orang tua, dan juga 2 anaknya. Di sini merupakan konsep struktur yang akan digunakan. Untuk kolom balok dan kolom sendiri akan menggunakan sistem struktur jepit. Berikut merupakan sistem utilitasnya. Bangunan akan menggunakan air langsung dari PDAM. Untuk air kotor yang hujan langsung dibuang menuju pembuangan kota. Untuk potensi alam yang saya manfaatkan yaitu di sisi timur dan barat bangunan cenderung lebih banyak menerima matahari. Potensi tersebut saya manfaatkan dengan memberikan banyak tanaman di bagian sisi timur dan barat. Selain untuk estetika, juga berfungsi untuk menyaring udara yang akan masuk ke dalam apartemen. Untuk potensi angin. Untuk meminimalisir masuknya angin, saya memberikan seperti pasangan kayu yang akan memecah angin tersebut. Untuk potensi alam hujan, dari hujan ke sini, air hujan tersebut dapat saya manfaatkan sebagai menyiram tanaman yang ada di bagian bawah bangunan. Untuk potensi gempa, untuk meminimalisir dampak dari gempa, di sini karena sudah menggunakan sistem jepit, maka bangunan tersebut cenderung lebih fleksibel dalam menahan gaya dari gempa. Untuk pemanfaatan ruang yang ada, di desa Sesetan ini cenderung tidak memiliki pasar. Namun, saya menyediakan pasar di area saya agar pasar ini dapat dimanfaatkan oleh seluruh warga maupun warga di apartemen. Dan yang menjadi kelebihan dari pasar ini adalah pasar ini sudah menerapkan beberapa protokol kesehatan, seperti pemberian ruang terbuka semaksimal mungkin agar memaksimalkan social distancing. Dan juga di bagian dalam pasar tidak ada sekat satupun untuk para pedagang. Hal ini dikarenakan untuk memperlancar area sirkulasi udara nantinya yang masuk ke bangunan. Berikut merupakan hasil rendernya. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you, Dede Fajendra. Directly, we move to the panelists. Please, Mr. Paramaputra, to give the first comment, then continue to Mr. Abdul. Excuse me, Mr. Paramaputra, still mute.
I will make a general comment for both of presenters. So I think that its design need to meet the standard, a new standard for a new housing typology, because maybe you have to compare the latest standard for apartment and the newest after you research about a pandemic or COVID-19. So you have to compare both of typology and which aspect that has been changed due to the the COVID. Maybe the wind has to be this direction, the sun needs to be this much. So you have a standard to the new typology, and that need to be for all the room on your apartment. Because when I look at some of building mass, there is some of the room that doesn't have sunlight. Maybe you have to really look at how you analyze the wind direction and sun direction. That's really important. And for the activities for people that living in the apartment, you have to make a sort of like a diagram indicating what time they wake up and what time they do the activity, maybe eat or something, kind of like a circular diagram that indicate the activities for each people. So each people for its I think for kids, they have their own time frame. That just indicates how the building works. That will affect your design as well. And for the structure, most of the design actually using the wood structure as a column and a foundation. So maybe that's a still questionable mark for me, because maybe the timber nowadays is couldn't actually support the mid or high-rise building. Maybe you have to research on the newest technology. Maybe the timber can be reinforced by something else that maybe can support your idea in general. Also for Zen, you're trying to, when you look at your design, you're trying to mimic the rice field in Bali. So you have like a style look building. So you have an outdoor space for each level, and you try to like a pyramid. That's maybe the good approach to design for this current situation, for this pandemic. Again, I think you have to look at the research of every single aspect, psychology and also health, because psychology, mental health in this situation is really alarming for us now. So I think that's all. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Muluk.
Okay, I think my comment almost similar to my earlier comment for Mr. Deva. Your proposal is very good. It looks very complete and looks very impressive in terms of the renderings and all. It's just that the way you're presenting it a little bit, not able to explain in terms of the narratives behind the forms. So I wish that more emphasis is given to that, and maybe how to explain your design in a more attractive way. I feel that that's actually the one that's lacking. In terms of the graphics, very good, very, very good. I mean, you have the rendering done and all that. It's just that I think it's a little bit too ambitious when you try to cover so many things into your proposal. And I think focus should be given to the explanation how a self-sustainable community post-COVID-19. So I feel that, even though you have touched a little bit on that issue, not a little bit, actually a lot of things that you touch, but there's no focus. So basically it's no focus on the self-sustainability of your residents that you propose here, and how does it respond to post-COVID, how to respond to the post-COVID-19 pandemic. I think most of the time, more emphasis is on the response to post-COVID-19 and less on self-sustainable community. So I think that's my my comment. don't get me wrong. I still feel that your proposal is very good in terms of your graphics, in terms of your but there's a lot of question mark, because sometimes a good design invite a lot more questions than not so good design. So I think and for Zen, I think you I commended your effort. I mean, like I can see the if it is maybe if you are given more time, maybe in terms of completing your proposal, you already have like a very good form that respond to the context. I mean, like I'm trying to emulate the paddy field terraces, blend with the landscape, the Bali landscape and things like it, but not too directly. There's a lot of like simplifications in terms of your the form that you emulate. So but it was let down by the quality of the graphic presentation. So I think that you need to spend more time in improving your skills in your graphics, because as you can I mean, this is the last presenter, so I can see that most of the presenter from Warmadewa has a very good skills in their graphic presentation, but very poor in their verbal presentation. But from Utah, you have sometimes good idea, not so good graphic, but so verbal presentation. So I think that's my my comment on the two presenter. Thank you.
Thank you for Mr. Abdul and Mr. Paramaputra. So before we move to the last session, we need to remind for all the participant, audience, panelists, and presenter to fill in the absent, which link has been shared on the YouTube chat or the Zoom chat. You can start to fill in now before we will close it in 12:20 p.m. Okay, maybe we will give maybe 10 minutes to all audience, maybe, or Mr. Mahaputra. Maybe there is a question that you want to ask from the presenter or the panelists.
Okay, thank you, Pak Andika. Are you calling my name?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was not so sure because Musli also has Putra.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you, Pak Andika. Okay, I enjoy all the presentations. Although, as Pak Abdul says, that Warmadewa student has a lack of ability in doing the effective presentations. They rather than go straight to the design, still presenting the study. Yeah, at this stage you have to present your proposal. Yeah, something that you pick from your study. And what have you done? But what have you proposed? Yeah, you have to present your proposal. The result of your study is the backup of your proposal. Yeah, but the one that you have to present is your proposal. And then you can explain why you do that. Then you start referring it to your study. Don't explain your study. Are waiting for your proposal. Yeah, all of us are waiting for your proposal. We know that you already done your study, and then while you are presenting your proposal, you make connection with your study. This connection will when you're connecting it, then you recall your study. Yeah, but don't put your study as the main point of your presentations. I think that's my comment for all presenters.
Yeah, I think it's a similar case for a lot of students, because they have done a lot of study. They feel that they need to present the study. Otherwise, we don't know that they have actually done a lot of study. But however, usually the amount of study that you have done will be reflected in your design. So we can see that you have done a lot of research and analysis if you have come up with a good analysis. So you don't have to represent just specifically presenting on your study. So you just explain about your design and anything that you want to clarify about the study that you have done during the process, then you can explain about your design. I think it's not only a problem with Warmadewa students, it's also in universally like that, you know. I think students like to show that, oh, I have done this study. So that's why they want to present the study, which is actually not necessary, because the important is your presentation. I mean, your design, the one that you, the solution that you come out with. And also because of that lack of time that you have presentation, you can't give a conclusion to your overall presentation. So I think a presentation without a conclusion is like a hanging things, you know, without a conclusion or a closure to the project. So I feel that there's equal emphasis need to be given to the conclusions of your proposal. You know, what is actually the conclusion of your of the whole exercise. So I feel that I mean all the four of presenter from Warmadewa, because of the time given to them, they're not able to conclude their presentation. So I actually, that is what I want. I'm waiting for. I want to wait for that, because like Puan Maputra mentioned that this exercise is about self-sufficient community post COVID-19. So what have you concluded from that topic that we are studying? You know, not the study itself, but the conclusion is more important than the study that you have done. That is actually my opinion to it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the statement of Mr. Abdul Muluk is opening the last session. So we move to Mr. Paramaputra to give a conclusion maybe for the whole presentation or whole project from the student.
Okay, I think similar to Mr. Abdul Muluk. So we have, because your semester and ours is different, right? So there is a gap of sort of like knowledge or a graphic in architectural.
Yes, yes.
So I think if possible, we can make sort of like guidelines.
Ours is a second
year student.
It's not a second year student, so not comparison.
Yeah, that's
year student.
Yeah. So maybe we can actually make some sort of like guidelines if we sum up with a really good idea for this new ways to design apartments. Maybe we can have like a book or something, that portfolio for both of universities joining, making a sort of like a portfolio. Maybe Pak Mahaputra, is it possible? It's like making a guidelines for designing new apartments, if possible.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's enough, Anika. Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Okay, thank you.
Audience.
Before, yes. Maybe the audience want to ask something from the panelists or from the presenter. Anyone?
Hello, may I contribute something?
Yes, of course.
Hello.
Sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Naj Arifin, and I'm from Malaysia. I am a part-time lecturer at Utah. And thank you, Mr. Abdul Muluk, for inviting me. And I was in from the very beginning. Very interesting presentations. Congratulations to everyone, both at Universitas Warmadewa and Utah. Overall, I think you all have learned a lot of things about how to design in terms of the pandemic, which I think I can help to contribute one or two more things, if you don't mind. And in terms of presentation, just two things. For the very first one, I think Ni Luh Sukmawati, just to point out something good. I think, well, she was the only one who had a single slide that very comprehensively showed everything that she was thinking of, that she considered important, and all the points were there. I know some of the others did have slides that showed what they were doing, of course, but some of them were a bit long-winded. But Niluh Sukmawati, yours was very concise and very clear. So I think that that's something to be praised, which others can learn from. And then, funnily enough, in a bit contrast to Mr. Abdul Muluk, I think Thomas Miranda, your video, the video was very good. Among all the presentations, that video was something for me that was very clear. In just a few minutes, I could understand your entire presentation. Whereas for the others, I really had to concentrate, I had to focus, and then with the internet sometimes being not very good and breaking up. So Thomas Miranda's video, that was very good. I'm not talking about the design, but talking about that video presentation. It was clear, and it was narrated at a good pace, not too fast, not too slow. And one more thing was the confidence. Thomas, yeah, when you narrated that, you showed your confidence in your design, and that's very important. Whereas some of the others, I could see that your designs were good, maybe even better, but the way you presented it, you seem to lack confidence in your own design. And so that, that takes away from the efficacy or the strength of your design. Yeah. And this brings me to what Nyoman mentioned about infection factors. One was stress, which is a contributing factor to being infected if your stress level is high. And stress is related to confidence. It's related to positivity. So it goes, there's a connection there. If you are confident, you are positive, then whatever you do will be reflected back onto you. Okay. A word that I think everybody used was flexibility. Flexibility, ya, kalau dalam bahasa Melayu di Malaysia, keanjalan, ya, dari anjal maksudnya flexible. Jadi keanjalan ataupun flexibility ini semuanya ada sebut, tapi I think not many of you actually described what your flexibility is. Yeah, and you all did. For many of you, I recall that you did describe your flexibility in terms of the overall design, in the massing, the way people move in and out of the building. That's good, but not that many actually described or even analyzed the flexibility in your apartment design, in your apartment layout. Okay, now that is very critical, because in a design for COVID-19, it's not just the complex, it's not just the group of buildings, but it's also the design of the interior of the apartment itself. Ya, tata ruang dalamannya itu juga sangat penting. Dan di sini ada beberapa isu, ya, ada beberapa hal tentang keanjalan di dalam ruang hidup itu, ya, di dalam ruang apartemen itu. What I mean is, for example, okay, most of you, I think not all, but most of you did talk about education. Okay, education is very important, of course. Even in the COVID, students can't go to school, and so they have to study from home. In Malaysia, we call it PDPR, pembelajaran dari rumah, pengajaran dan pembelajaran dari rumah. And so it means that you have to stay at home. Now, we need to design our apartments in such a way that there are spaces, yeah, inside the apartment that are good spaces for setting up of a table. And then you have to even think of little details like the power outlets. Okay, you need to have many power outlets because many people are going to use handphones, they're going to use computers, laptops, and gadgets which need to be charged. Therefore, you need to design the position of those power outlets. I know Indonesian power outlets are slightly different, very different from Malaysian, but still you need power outlets. So you cannot have just one in a room and then you'll find that everybody is fighting, semuanya berkejar untuk satu power outlet itu untuk mencaskan atau charge peralatan mereka, ya. So you even need to think of that location of the charge point at table level, okay, so that when you use your laptop, it's very easy. You don't have to go down to the lower part of the ground, the floor, to charge your device. Little things like that. And then you also need to think that in a household, it's most likely that there's more than one person who needs to use a computer, and yet if you put a place for people to study and do that online learning side by side, actually that's not very good. In practice, if two students are having classes together and you put them side by side, then there's going to be a clash of the voices and the sounds that they are going to hear from their teachers on the screen. Okay? So you need to think about having them in different parts of the house so that they can talk loudly with their teachers online and so on. Little things like that. I know because I have 5 children, and whenever even 3 of them have the same class at any one time, it's going to be a big problem because everybody's so close to each other. So we learn that we have to separate each other in different parts of the house. Yeah. So it's those little things. I know maybe none of you have children yet, so now I'm helping you to understand that. Yeah. Another thing is not many of you actually spoke about balcony or open air for your fenestrations. Fenestrations bermaksud bukaan, ya, seperti tingkap, jendela, dan itu sangat penting juga karena studi ataupun studies have found that in this COVID situation, apartments with some kind of a balcony give up to a 25% better sense of living than without a balcony. Now, the funny thing is, in normal situations, balconies are useless because people can go out, so they don't use their balconies. But suddenly, terbalik, ya, kalau waktu COVID, sesiapa yang ada balcony itu yang ada balkon, ya. Kalau dalam bahasa Melayu di sini dipanggil langkan. Jadi sesiapa yang ada langkan ataupun balkon itu memberikan sehingga 25% perasaan yang lebih nyaman dalam kehidupan di dalam apartemen, ya. So we have to think of things like that. And also the balcony, depending of course also on the direction of the sun, that also gives at least some space for the residents to plant some potted plants. Okay, like in my house, we do plant some potted vegetables. Seperti ulam raja. I don't know if it's the same thing in Indonesia. Namanya ulam raja. It's very easy to grow, and you grow it on your balcony. And every time you eat, you just pluck a few leaves and eat it with your rice. So that helps to give a good sense of living. Yeah. And then finally, something that is actually quite critical, and it's a secret. It's a terrible secret. But during the lockdowns, during the time when everybody is cooped up in their houses and their apartments, I'm sad to say, and this is not just in our places, but it's around the world. Okay, the how do you say it? The cooped up situation, ya, situasi yang semuanya berada di dalam satu rumah itu bisa mengakibatkan incest. Tahu incest dalam bahasa Inggris, ya, kalau di Malaysia dipanggil bahasa Melayunya sumbang mahram. Incest, karena semua orang di satu tempat tidak bisa kemana-mana, ya. Kalau normal situations itu kurang masalah karena kita selalu keluar, kita masuk, kita keluar, kita masuk. Tapi kalau semuanya sudah siang, malam, pagi, petang di dalam situ, malangnya kadang-kadang orang yang ya kurang gimana ya, kurang akhlaknya gitu, terjadi incest. Jadi kita harus pikirkan juga flexibility ataupun keanjalan tata ruang itu memberikan a certain sense of privacy terutamanya kepada wanita, ya, kepada adik-adik perempuan sepertinya, karena sedih disebutkan selalunya yang incest itu yang dibuat oleh abang ataupun saudara lelaki kepada saudara perempuannya, ya. Jadi kita sebagai arsitek we as architects, we have to think of those things as well. How to allow for places where the women, especially the younger women, are able to have a place that is secure for them. You can do that by various ways. Even if the unit is small, allow for a certain area where there is one window for them, and then they can cordon it off. Yeah. In fact, using either penghadang ataupun screen, if not a solid wall or room, penghadang ataupun screen ataupun langsir, which is gordon in bahasa Indonesia, or curtains, which will at least give that sense of privacy when they sleep. Yeah, so it helps to give that psychological division, so that the men or the boys in the house know that that is a privacy. That it helps with the psychology. Okay? So those are little things which maybe you didn't realize. So I hope I have helped you to realize that in real life these things happen. Yeah, from education to the balcony to privacy for especially women, to avoid incest. Okay, sorry I've taken up so much time, but thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yes, thank you so much for good advice. At least we must think about detail level of how we should design the layout, yeah, because it will affect about the mental health, maybe especially for women, yeah. Okay, thank you so much for your advice. Okay, maybe another advice or comment or question from audience. Okay, if not, maybe we can move to the end of the session. I say thank you for all the panelists, Mr. Abdul Rahman, Mr. Jose Paramaputra, and the head program of architecture, Mr. Mahaputra. And then for the presenter from both universities, maybe Mr. Abdul Muluk, we can have next collaboration and next project maybe. Thank you so much for this great time and this learning. Really,
maybe next time student from Warmadewa can join our studio.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you know, we do it like once a year. Like last year, our student joined your studio, but this year your student joined our studio.
Yes, yes. I will offer to our students to join your studio.
Okay, before I close this session, for all participants, don't forget to fill in the absent, because the absent will talk about the certificate. Yeah, you will give a certificate from this Colloquium 2021. Okay, that's the thank you for all the committee for this event. And then as the host, personally, I say thank you, and we hope you in all good condition, and see you again in the next event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak Andika. Thank you, Pak Abdul Muluk.
Thank you.
Thank you for all students and congratulations.